Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go!
That's a good one. That's good. This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we take whatever band or artist we're doing and we listen to all their records and then we rank them from worst to best. We also do our 6 Degrees with Tom DeLonge. If you don't know what that is, it's the same idea as 6 Degrees with Kevin Bacon, but with Tom and the artist of the week. While you're listening, go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Give us 5 stars on there, please, because you can do it on both apps, and that would be awesome. Please go do that. And, social media at Asinine Radio. We have a Discord server. If you want to join that, hit us up. We'll send you the link. We have a phone number you can call, text us, leave us a voicemail. The phone number is 503-893-5307. And, oh yeah, I'm Tyler, and hundreds of miles away is Jeff. So that's who we got here on the pod this week, just the two of us. And now we're done with the boring intro. So let's get into our 6 Degrees of Tom DeLonge. Do you have anything, or were you negligent once again?
There was a lot of fucking Slayer to listen to.
Okay, so you were negligent. Okay, that's fine. So you have nothing, right?
I have nothing. Do you have something?
I have one thing because I did my homework. So we start with Dave Lombardo, the drummer for Slayer. Dave Lombardo. Mm-hmm. He currently plays with the band Suicidal Tendencies and has for the last 5-6 years. Brooks Wackerman also played in Suicidal, played on several of their records in the 90s. Brooks Wackerman also has played with Blink, toured with them in Australia and other dates because of Travis Barker not being able to fly. So then Blink to Tom. There you go. Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm.
Easy fucking peasy. But that's all I got because, this week was a lot. It was a lot.
A lot of work.
So, yes, a lot of Slayer to listen to. So, let's start. Okay, so we're going to do from their worst record to their best. They have 12 records. We are including the covers record because, why the fuck not? It's listed on their wiki as an official record, so we're going to do it. I know you don't normally like doing cover records, though, but what are you going to do?
Okay.
So, what do you got, Jeff, for number 12 and your biggest banger from that? Go!
It's their covers record. Undisputed Attitude. So hard, Slayer.
Yeah.
I'm going to make fun of Slayer a lot because they
That's
are
fine.
very, very goofy.
Okay.
Undisputed Attitude, or Altitude Attitude. Yeah, this is their covers album, and it plays as such. It's not bad by any means, but it's just, I don't know, it's too much of a thrash band sounding like punkers covering punker songs. There's no cohesion, and I get it. It's a covers album. What do you want? It's fine.
Yeah.
I just don't care. I don't want to hear this from my Slayer. I don't have a banger. I don't have a banger for a lot of these.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have a banger. Nothing really stood out to me. A lot of songs on this I thought were like, oh yeah, this is a pretty good song. I like this. I like where this is going. I like this one. But overall, like I didn't playlist anything.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
This was whatever's.
All right, so my number 12 is also Undisputed Attitude because this is a covers record. I agree with you. This shouldn't. If I knew this was a covers record, I would have said let's just skip it. But whatever. The wiki says otherwise. But it's not bad at all. Nothing they've done has been truly bad.
Nah.
Some of it has been pretty lackluster, but nothing bad. And this one's just sitting here because it's a covers album. I think they only really made it just for contractual purposes, just to put out a new record. So I don't have a banger off this one either. This came out in 1996. Is technically their 7th record. So pretty kind of far into their career. So there you go. That's my number 12. So what do you got for number 11?
Number 11 is Christ Illusion.
Okay.
This is 2006, their 10th album. This was this was just like damn near identical to God Hates Us All. It's just the new metal sound wore off and became a chore rather than a novelty by now. And like you, I don't think anything they've done is bad, but it's just kind of like, fuck, man, you guys gotta stop doing the same thing over and over, or do something else, because I'm getting very, very tired of it. So,
yeah, you don't need to put out 12 records, really. Don't.
No, they for sure could have done 6.
Like a solid 6 records, and you're good to go. That's all you need.
Yeah, and this was the first one with Lombardo back, and I don't know, it was fine.
Okay.
I don't have a banger.
No banger. Okay. Let's see here. My number 11 then is Divine Intervention, their 6th record from '94. This one, overall, it's just slower. It's heavier. To me, they kind of sound tired and just kind of bored or maybe burn out a bit. This is the first one without Dave Lombardo. There's not it. I don't know how often I would ever go back to this because almost all their shit is the same. So there's really no reason for me to ever go back to this. And if I had to pick a banger off this one, it would be Circle of Beliefs, because it's one of the few like aggressive, fast songs on the record, because everything else is very chuggy. Maybe they're trying to kind of do a Black Album, like Metallica's Black Album kind of thing, where they kind of slow everything down to be a little bit more accessible. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel like a lot of their 90s stuff was, trying to accommodate to whatever's popular. So yeah, that's my number 11, Divine Intervention. I don't think there's anything really super amazing about it. So
okay.
What do you got for number 10?
God Hates Us All.
God Hates Us All. Okay.
God Hates Us All. I'm just gonna repeat myself with Christ's Illusion. I think these are fucking damn near identical albums and kind of the same shit Slayer did in the 90s, 2000s.
Yeah.
I do have a banger off of this one. It's the song called Payback. And this is so like my top 4. I'm very staunch about. Mm-hmm. The next 2, like 5 and 6, I'm pretty hard on set on those things being 5 and 6. But 7 to 12, I could fucking care less. So they could all fluctuate. I wouldn't, except for Undisputed Attitude. That one has to be last. But everything else, it could fluctuate. I don't really care. But Payback, this is one of the most aggressive songs that they've done in a long time. There's so much yelling. It's ridiculous, and it's so fucking loud. Sometimes their production, and we'll talk about it in the album of the week, is there were spikes on there too. They just like turn songs up and they turn parts up louder in the mix, and just it comes out of nowhere. It's just like one verse is now all of a sudden louder than everything else. And it sounds dumb. I mean, I like it because it's loud, but like this song was really loud.
All right.
It's weird.
Coming from like one of the loudest bands of all time.
There's a specific part in our album of the week where it was just like, wow, this is really loud. Like one of the instruments just all of a sudden got turned up in one of the verses, and I was like, what the fuck? Why did they this? That's weird. Okay.
I'm curious what song that is. I don't think I picked up on that.
That's there.
All right. So that is your number 11, right?
Yeah.
I figure we're going to get through like a lot of these pretty fast.
Number 10. That was my number 10.
Oh, that was your 10. Oh, okay. Number 10. My number 10 is Show No Mercy, their first record from 1983. There's really nothing wrong with this album at all, but it's like one of the least Slayer sounding albums. I mean, this is them. They were pretty much like an Iron Maiden, Judas Priest cover band prior to this, and a lot of these songs kind of have those similarities to those bands. Like I said, nothing wrong with this record, but it's not. If you want to listen to Slayer, you're not really going to listen to this record, but it's still solid. I would actually get this one on vinyl just because it does sound different. But yeah, so that's what I got. My favorite song here, The Antichrist. I think this is like actually a single off of this record, and it just, like I said, it has like this cool Iron Maiden sound to it. Some ripping solos that are honestly I think are better than some of the Iron Maiden stuff. And some great high-pitched screaming, which he did so well back in the 80s. So that's what I got.
Okay.
That's what I got.
Number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Love Potion, number 9, is Seasons in the Abyss for me. This is their 5th album, 1990. And it's a good album. I liked the effort put in by Lombardo, and I will go into that a lot later on. He did quite a bit, and it added for just a lot of really great effect. Like they'd be playing fast and aggressive, and he'd be working the floor toms a lot, or they'd be chugging it slower, and he'd double time it. Dude's fantastic.
Oh, he's amazing.
But it's a good album. I don't have a banger. I just thought it was better overall, I guess. I mean, dude, this was fucking hard to rank, to be honest. Like,
yeah, they were very difficult. It's very hard to nitpick these records.
I really only care about my top 4. Season of the Abyss, number 9 for me. I don't really care.
Seasons in the Abyss is also my number 9. This album to me it's slower. It's much chuggier than everything prior, and so it has a lot of like Metallica sounding parts to it, which is good. It's cool, but it just sounds kind of tired at moments, and it's kind of like when I listened to this record, I was kind of I just wanted chaos. That's what I wanted. I want chaos when I listen to Slayer, but this album doesn't really deliver that chaos. So that's why it's as low as it is. If I had to pick a song, it'd be Born of Fire, just because it is the fastest, craziest song on the record. And I texted you this a couple days ago when I listened to this record, but there was a part that scared me so bad.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I panicked. I fucking panicked. The song was Dead Skin Mask. And
Why?
There's like kind of toward the end of the song, there's like kids talking. And I swear to you, I thought somebody was at the front door because I was working. So and I'm right next to the front door, so I thought there were kids at the front door. And I don't know why it freaked me out so bad, but I'm getting chills right now talking about it. But I don't know why I legit panicked, and I like stood up, and I was like looking around like something was with me, or somebody was with. Dude, I don't know what the fuck happened with this song. But yeah, dude, it scared the fucking shit out of me. I don't know.
Okay.
It was bizarre.
All right.
It was bizarre.
That's a little bizarre.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd have some sort of reaction to that too, but clearly not.
No, I don't really get that frightened listening to
I don't normally
sometimes.
either. I don't either. I don't know what it was about this song, man. It scared the shit out of me. But that's my number 9. So what's your number 8?
Hell Awaits. Hell Awaits. This is their second album, 1985. I don't dislike this sound at all. It's more of this Slayer sound, but in a transitional period to Rain and Blood. This is probably my favorite cover art, though.
Hell Awaits.
I think.
Oh yeah, this was cool cover art.
This is so fucking. It's just dorky. It's so stupid. It's just a bunch of people getting fucked up in hell. Like they're getting stabbed. Like one guy's getting his like eyes ripped out by a hand, like a demon hand. I don't know. It's goofy. And much in the same way as like the early Pantera was kind of goofy, and it's like cover art, its theme and concept. Slayer overall is kind of a goofy band, and they
try very hard to be scary.
God, they try so hard, and like so I mean for sure.
But they did scare a lot of people,
because it was like the 80s and 90s. People don't know what the fuck they were doing back then.
Yeah, true.
Stupid people. They were scaring stupid people. Because all the stuff that we'll probably get into about the lawsuits and everything, like none of that stuff is so tame. It means nothing in today's time. It's just because of when it happened. But I don't know. It's goofy. Hell Awaits, the opening track. I think it's the title track. That's my favorite song. It was cool. Picked up, rolled nicely. Even had this little goofy like Satan voice in it that just making like a growling noise, like rah, rah, rah. Like, be you angels? No, we are but men. Rock. Like Tenacious D style. It was funny. I had a good time with it. Hell Awaits, number 8.
All right. That's a good one. So my number 8 is God Hates Us All, their 9th record from 2001. This album has, it has some of the intensity that, the prior albums, a lot of the stuff in the 90s didn't have, which was nice. It was kind of nice to get back to that. It was also the last album they did with Paul Bostaff, the drummer, until Repentless in 2015. So this it's a solid record. It's good. My favorite song is Warzone. It's just a great mix of just the heaviness, the heavy chugging with speed, the good back and forth, and Tom just has some great screams. Considering it's 2001, 20 years into their career, and he's still able to scream so well. It's pretty crazy. So that's my number 8. Also this album, I'm pretty positive Ross Robinson was supposed to produce this record. So Ross was on a podcast like last year or 2 years ago that I was listening to, and he brought up like this, that he was supposed to work with Slayer, and he actually went to the rehearsal studio to go talk to them and hang out with them and see if they were a good fit. And they pretty much kind of like, they shoot him out of the studio after a few songs because they said he was too weird for Slayer. Like they just didn't get along because he was too weird.
It's because they're cool guys.
Because I guess like he was like asking too much of them. Like he was getting too into it to try to like pump them up. And like Ross is a very hands-on producer, like more so than anybody.
He's definitely a weirdo.
Oh, 100% a weirdo, but he gets the performances that, that he does because of that. So, but yeah, apparently he kind of weirded out the band too much. And this is, I think, pretty positive. This is the record that he was supposed to actually produce. So there you go.
It's because the band is just a bunch of fucking cool guys, and like God forbid their image get tarnished in any way to make them seem fun.
I think it's more Kerry King, which I mean we're gonna get way more into.
Good God.
Yeah, I don't even want to bring him up right now because we're gonna
fucking whiner.
Yeah. So what do you got for number 7?
Number 7. Sorry, I was looking at the track listing. Number 7 is Repentless, 2015. Mm-hmm. At what point for you in your rankings does it get like, now I'm going to argue about these rankings? For me, it's literally just my top 4 I will argue for.
I would say top 3 for me.
Okay.
Really just top 3, yeah.
Okay, so Repentless, that's my number 7, 2015. I mean, here we go again. Another fucking album. It's not bad. It's just, fuck, man, more Slayer of this era. Yeah. It's just... Dude, this is just metal sounding music from a band that used to be a thrash band is what it is. And it's I'm fucking tired of it. I'm tired of it, and it's not a bad listen. That's like the most irritating part is I'm not like clamoring to turn this shit off the way I would be if like the Deftones were playing. Oh, it's just I don't. Are you mad that I said the Deftones or that I would turn them off?
That you're criticizing Deftones.
The Deftones, yeah. It's just I don't want to hear this shit anymore. Good God. I have a favorite song on here, but now that I read it again, I don't really care. I don't care. I'm not gonna read it.
That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. Like I totally understand it.
Don't
I totally
even care.
Understand. All right. So my number 7 is I'm gonna butcher this one, but it's Diabolus in Musica. Is that how you say it? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I speak new metal.
This is their 8th record in 1998. This is considered their new metal album. That's probably why you said that. This is the first time they started to use anything outside of standard tuning. Really, they did drop C. I think they even dropped it down to B. Like it was some heavy shit. I don't think they brought in 7-string guitars on this record yet, but it sounds like it. It really does, and not in a bad way. Because I mean, I'm a new metal guy, and you are to an extent as well. You like some new metal shit, so get over yourself. So there's a lot of System of a Down here, and I know that band takes a lot from Slayer, especially Darren's the way he plays guitar is a lot. There's a lot of Slayer there. And so I hear a lot of that on this record as well. It's a little bit slower because of that new metal sound, and everything's very just kind of loud and thick sounding and kind of like I like full. I don't know. I can't even explain like the tone. But if you know new metal, you kind of understand what I'm saying. And I think this is a solid record. I mean, if I saw this for like $15, I'd pick it up.
Oh, 15! Wow, you're not going to throw out your patent in. If I saw this for $5, I'd pick it up.
Nah. I'd pick this
one
up.
If you ever fucking see Slayer for $15 anywhere.
I would pick this up also, too, because it is, I think it is, besides their first record, this is the only record that sounds so different from what you would expect Slayer to play. And I like that a lot. So,
and the cover is pretty damn cool, too.
I like the cover a lot, too. Yeah, this is one of my favorite covers. Is
very
the one
like,
for this one.
It reminds you of something like Ghost, the band Ghost would do.
Yeah, definitely. With the white face and...
Yeah,
it's
cool
very, but it's also very 90s. You got to admit, it's a very 90s looking album cover. Like maybe like Manson would have done a cover like this.
Looks like something from like End of Days with Schwarzenegger. It's cool looking.
Yeah, I like it. So that's my number 7. So what do you got for number 6?
Number 6, this was bizarre because this was my number 1. And then when I finished, I was like, why is this my number 1? I went back and listened to it, and I was like, this is not a number. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. And that's Divine Intervention.
Oh, okay.
This
why
legit was
would
my
that
number
be?
1 until today.
That's
And
weird.
I was going through my rankings. I was like, dude, I don't remember anything from this album. And I'm reading my notes, and so initially I said this one was hectic. It was super heavy, aggressive. One of my favorite vocal delivery, which I still think so. Just because he just constantly fucking yells. It reminded me a lot of Raised Fist, and then kind of how they just constantly yell, to just shout. And everything was just very, I don't know, very shouty. It's really
Okay.
good.
Wait,
But
what song was it that you're talking about?
on this one,
Mm-hmm.
Mind Control. Mind Control.
Oh, Mind
that's,
Control, okay.
Yeah, fast song and just a lot of fucking yelling. And after listening to about half of it, I started researching it, and everyone kind of complained about like the production quality of it, and it was just kind of rushed, and it just sounded weird at times, and I don't know. I just think the band were just scared of not having Lombardo. This is the first one they did without Lombardo.
Yeah.
I think they were just scared, and they felt they had to probably step it up a little bit, not rely on him so much, because they fucking rely on him so goddamn much in the early years.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
This is not my number 1 at all, because it's not.
This is my.
Eh.
This is their worst record. I mean, taking the covers album out, this is their worst record for me, at least.
It's just, it's whatever. It's like I'm not going to argue with that at all and try and fight for this one.
Yeah, there's no
It's just,
point.
yeah, I don't care that much. I really don't.
Okay, so that was your number 6. My number 6 is Repentless. Their 12th and last record came out in 2015. This is the first and only record that did not feature Jeff Hanneman on guitar because he had passed away a couple years prior, which we will talk about on the main episode because Kerry King is quite a guy. And so, yes, Repentless. Gary Holt from Exodus plays guitar on this. Paul Bostaph had come back because they fired Dave Lombardo because Kerry's a little bitch. And I think it's a solid record. I think the song Repentless, I think it's a very good song. I think the solos are pretty well placed in there. And that's like, for me, I don't know why, for whatever reason, that is like one of my favorite Slayer songs, is the song Repentless.
Okay.
I don't know what
Weird.
it is. I can't even explain why. I just like that song a lot. And this record is it's just a good listen through. There's nothing bad on here, but that's like all Slayer records. So I really have nothing more to say about it. Outside of the history of the record, there's really nothing more to say. It would have been cool if Gary Holt had more to do with the songwriting, but obviously Kerry cannot allow that to happen. There's no fucking way. Because he's a bitch. So what do you got for number 5?
Number 5. Now we're getting into like I'm pretty proud of this ranking here. I do like this album, but World Painted Blood, 2009.
Yeah.
And when I say I do like this album, I do understand that this is just kind of like the same stuff that I've been complaining about for a while.
Yeah.
But this is like the best of the most mediocre shit. Because this is 2009, and it's the same fucking stuff. However, I don't know, some of these songs were a little bit more diverse, a little bit more complex, a little bit more layered. Playing with Dolls, that was my favorite song. I thought it was super dope. This song reminded me a lot of how the song Fall Children by AFI starts off, where it's just kind of like a guitar part with a little bit of spoken word. It's very reminiscent of that. And it's got this cool, like, heavy hi-hat sound with this creepy guitar riff, and it's so fucking good. It's so amazing. This was a good album after listening to so much just mediocre stuff. Mm-hmm. And after hearing this one, I was like, okay, cool. Like, give me a second life here. Give me another breath, because it kept me going. And maybe that's why
Even though you
so
only had
high.
one album after this? Repentless was the only album after this.
Yeah, but this was so fun. There were so many albums you had to sit through just to get to this point.
Yeah. The
Like
90s stuff was the hardest to get through. But it wasn't even hard. Like,
listening to things like through and through from front to back, it's like, even if an album is good, but just because I've listened to 4 bad albums before, sometimes it diminishes that good album because I'm just so fucking tired of the band we're doing. So sometimes it's hard to be like objective, but this one, I don't know. This one like breathed new life into it, but then I really did not like Repentless at all. So
That's crazy. Well, I mean, it's not crazy. I understand. That was,
But again,
I mean, obviously primarily a Kerry King record.
I wouldn't fight too hard for this one.
Yeah.
It was good, but it wasn't great.
I think
I'm
I
still
would
not my top
probably,
four.
I think I would probably get any Slayer record for $15. If I saw any Slayer record for $15, I would probably get it.
You get their covers one?
I would get their covers for 15. I mean, it's a good record. I mean, it really is. It's a good record, but there's no need for it, but it's still good.
Like replayability though, I don't. I'm doing the you now. Like when I buy records, I'm getting pickier. The replayability of it.
But like I said, I don't come across Slayer very often, and when I do, they're always like $30 to $45. It's never ever cheap.
No.
So the chance of me finding any of these records for $15 is very slim. So that's kind of why I would, I'd up my price a little bit.
Okay.
Then from $5,
Yeah.
So my number 5 is also World Painted Blood. And 11th record, 2009, the last one that Dave Lombardo and Jeff Hanneman were on, because like I said, Dave was fired, Jeff died, and this album really kind of takes everything that they did well in the past and threw it in here. So the best of their new metal stuff, or the new metal sound, and the best of the thrash, the best of the speed stuff, the best of the chugging. It's a good. This could have been the best way to end Slayer is with this record. Like Repentless did not need to happen. I agree with you. It didn't need to happen. This could have been the perfect end to the band because it was the original lineup on this record. But Kerry King, it's a bitch. My favorite song is the title song. I think I like this song so much because it's not just that open E just being constantly hit. There's a little bit more complexity to it, which we're going to talk about on the main episode in Rain and Blood. It's not just that open E string. So I think that's why I like it. It's just a great thrash song, and I think that really is because of Jeff Hanneman, because Kerry really only knows how to play one thing, and that is the open E string. But Jeff has a little more talent. Let's just say that. So
it is fucking crazy how much my preconceived notions of Slayer changed after realizing that Kerry King is not the leader of this band.
Yeah,
it's insane.
So, what is your number 4?
So now we're getting into the stuff that I'm going to fight for. These are my top 4. I think these are correct. If you do not agree with me, then I think you are wrong. And that is number 4 is their first album, Show No Mercy. Boom.
Wait, Show No Mercy, Destroy. What song is that? Is that a song we both like? Show No Mercy, Destroy.
That also sounds like
what is that?
That pacing you just did also sounds like AFI.
I did listen to I listened to like probably 4 hours of AFI today.
What song is that from AFI? That's from Black Sails, right? Where they're shouting.
Oh, the opening, the Miseria Canteri or whatever.
Yeah, is that what you're thinking of?
No. Show No Mercy, Destroy. It does sound the same. It's like it is the same pacing as the AFI song, but it's not. I think it's a Metallica song. I don't know. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, Show No Mercy. This is their first album, 1983. This is easy. This was so easy to listen to, and I did not expect it to sound like this. There's not a lot of complexity here. I like that. I don't need a ton of fancy shit. Just give me like aggressive, basic instruments and a non-annoying singer, and I'll be happy. This is just like pure. It's that's not that you laugh, but that's not a easy thing sometimes. It's fucking it's a lot to ask for sometimes. Look at Megadeth, and Anthrax at that. So I really like this because it's just pure basic thrash. It's when we rank like the Metallica and everybody else, I get a little bit more into it, but it's not. It's better than some, but way better than others. And I liked that this was the first output that they did. It's not their best, but damn, this was a great album. And the way they started their career on this high note, I really, really liked.
Yeah.
So I'll give them that.
So I feel like our top 4, at least half of them are going to be the same. So that's good. And hopefully they're the top 2.
Yeah, because we still have our album of the week that neither of us have said, and then the one after that, I don't think you've said yet. Right?
I haven't said it. No, yeah, neither of us said that one.
Rain and Blood and South of Heaven.
South
those
of Heaven.
1, 2. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so my number 4 is Christ Illusion. This is the first one with Dave Lombardo back from 2006, 10th record. This one really is almost exactly like World Painted Blood. I just think a little bit better. It's a little bit more put together. It was also not produced by Rick Rubin, so maybe that's why it sounds. Maybe that's why I like it a little bit better, because it sounds a little bit more fresh when it comes to the sound, the overall sound of it. And I felt like they really stepped it up at this with this record after coming out of the 90s and getting Dave Lombardo back. But otherwise, this is almost really Christ Illusion and World Painted Blood. World Painted Blood could be interchangeable, but this does have my favorite album cover. I think it's very like kind of creepy looking, and it's just very it's a very dark album cover. So this is definitely my favorite album cover of theirs.
This is a good one. This is a top 3 album cover for sure by them.
It's like Jesus with no arms. It's fucking weird, man.
It's just it's not even like subtle whatsoever of its aggressive tone. It's right there. Banned. It caused so much fucking problems.
And the yellow and the browns that are used, like it's not overly bright. It's just very dark looking. I don't know. I think it's a really good album cover. It's my favorite of theirs. So that's my number 4. It's Christ Illusion. So it could, like I said, interchangeable with the record that came after it, but good stuff. So what do you got for number 3?
Number 3, baby boy. What do you think it is?
It's probably Rain and Blood.
Rain and Blood.
Just to be a bitch. Is it really Rain and Blood?
It is not Rain and Blood. It is Diabolus in Musica.
I can't believe you liked this record this much.
This was unreal. This was
really?
Unreal. If it had not been for Rain and Blood and South of Heaven, obviously after or before, but the ranking after, this would be higher. This was so fucking good. This was a cool new metal album, but it's not annoying new metal. This wasn't like Korn annoying new metal. This reminded me a lot, like you, of System of a Down, their first fucking album. My God. Yeah. It's like they took every page from this book and then wrote their own album after it, because it's like everything about this was so damn similar. The way Tom screams and the way he's kind of like his pacing of vocal delivery, very reminiscent of Surge. The drumming, I'm not nearly as good, but very reminiscent of the drummer from System of a Down. The way the songs, there was even a song on here that I wrote, but then I guess I must delete it because I don't see it here, but it was exactly like Sugar. Like it fucking sounded exactly like Sugar.
Huh.
Fucking like the melody was there. I kept wanting to say Sugar afterwards because it was like, fuck, this is the same fucking song.
Okay.
Right. Dude, I don't know. This is the start of like the same shit they'll do over and over and over, but this one just seemed more experimental, kind of just all over the place. A messy album from an otherwise pretty tight band, and I think it worked, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I for sure would get this on the vinyls.
All right. I think Glass House had it a few weeks ago too.
Ooh.
They did have it, yeah. And I mean, it kind of makes sense too with System of a Down because, you know, Rick Rubin produced all of System's music, and then obviously he produced this record and most of the Slayer music, and there's a lot that could be a reason why there's a lot of overlap there. And of course, you know, little bitch Carrie, he said this is his least favorite record. So
yeah, he's a whiner. I mean, they both came out like damn near. They came out the same year, almost the same month. Like System came out just a couple months after this one, so it was very, very close. But I mean, it's the same fucking sound.
Yeah, and when you really look at it too, I mean, another reason why Carrie hates this album, because Jeff wrote all of it, except for one song. Carrie only wrote one song, and Jeff wrote the
Carrie's right shit. Whenever he says like Carrie wrote this song, I legit now only believe that he just wrote the solo.
I know.
That is it. The guy's a fucking butthole.
And the lyrics,
stand him at all.
And the lyrics, but yeah, dude, it's so funny when I read that Carrie, this is his least favorite record, and then I go farther down into the researching it, and sure as shit, yeah, Jeff wrote every song about one of them. Like, dude, you're such a little cuck, man. It's unbelievable. Try so hard, and doesn't get very far.
No, it's terrible. It's trash.
All right, so that was your number 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 3 is Hell Awaits, their second record. This song was just it was a good step up from their first record, which like I said, it's still a good record. You agree with me on that. The production's much better. The songwriting, the playing itself is much, much tighter. It sounds more like an original band than a cover band. They finally got into their own. They have their own identity on this one. I think this is a solid record. I dig it a lot. My favorite song off here is Crypts of Eternity. It just has that aggressive speed and the high pitched screams. Some really good back and forth guitar solos. Like this is like the thesis statement to Rain in Blood. Like the transition from the first, second, and third record into one another are just flawless. Like it just that progression and that growth in those 3 records is so cool. So yeah, Hell Awaits is my number 3. I think this is a really solid record. I would for sure get this one on vinyl. Like, without a doubt, get this one on vinyl. So, what do you got for number 2?
Number 2 is the album of the week, baby. Rain in Blood.
Rain in Blood.
Rain in Blood. Raining Blood.
Yep. All right. So my number 2 is, we might as well just talk about it. My number 2 is South of Heaven. Your number 1 is South of Heaven. So what do you think about this one? Their 4th record. What do you got?
So, see, when this album hit, after Rain in Blood, Rain in Blood was fucking good. And I mean, we'll get into how goddamn good that album is. But like when this one hit, I was just like, dude, you're going the completely opposite direction of the intensity, the fastness, the aggressive tone of Rain in Blood. You're slowing it down. Like, that's weird. This is not going to work out for you. And it did. It was like the most perfect follow-up to Rain in Blood. There's nothing they could have done better to improve upon Rain in Blood. So they decided to do something a little different, and it fucking worked. It worked so goddamn well. This is truly an amazing album, and it's very rare where a band can kind of almost corner the market on a sound like Rain in Blood kind of did, and then do something completely like the opposite direction, but it's still just as iconic. It's still just as great. It's not talked about as much as Rain in Blood is, but holy shit. I was blown away more by this one than I was Rain in Blood, because I had high expectations already for Rain in Blood, but I had no expectations for this one. So I was blown away more by this one than I was Rain in Blood.
And I like how they admit that they wrote this record to not even be as good as Rain in Blood. Like they knew from the start, we've already reached our peak. There's not going to be anything better than Rain in Blood. So let's kind of have a little bit more fun with it. Let's slow it down a little bit. Let's do something different from Rain in Blood. And yeah, it is slower. It's chuggier, but it's still Slayer, and it still has the intensity that Rain in Blood does, but just not nearly as fast. It's a fucking amazing record. It really is. And
dude, it's unbelievable.
And even the production is way different from Rain in Blood. I mean, to me, what stood out the most listening to them, one after the other, which I've actually never done before, but everything on South of Heaven is way punchier. Like the drums are louder in the mix, the guitars are louder in the mix, the vocals are actually turned down a bit compared to Rain in Blood. Everything is more separated. It's not as jumbled together as Rain in Blood is. Maybe it's because the songs are slower, but I feel like production-wise and sonically, I feel like this is a better sounding record than Rain in Blood. Even though Rain in Blood, I mean, I think it's an amazing sounding record, musically, sonically, everything. But South of Heaven it's just a different. It's its own animal. But I don't know, man. It's fucking great. I think South of Heaven's amazing, and the title track is my favorite song on the record.
Oh.
I mean that song is just, that riff is just iconic. It's slow, it's eerie. To me it's like the equivalent of Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath, of that song.
Okay.
Like it's not overly complicated. It's it's Slayer, but it's not like it's not their craziest thing. Like it's just eerie sounding, much like the Black Sabbath song. It's just eerie. And that's what I get with the song South of Heaven. And maybe that's what they were going for. I don't know.
That's interesting because my favorite song is "Spill the Blood," which is the last song.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like the opening track and then the closing track, because the opening track, that "South of Heaven" song, I do like that song a lot, and I love this album. But I wouldn't fight too much if like they were flipped. If this was my number 2 and "Rain and Blood" was my number 1, it's just this week.
Yeah.
This just so happened to be number 1. But "Spill the Blood," the last track, it closes the album out. It's super heavy. It's super chuggy. And it's so fucking dramatic. Like, I mean, this band is dramatic as it is, but that song is so dramatic and it's so slow. And it speeds up slightly, but it never speeds up like "Rain and Blood." Like, it never, ever gets that fast, gets that aggressive. But I don't know, man. It's still boss. The solos are still fucking rad. It's still heavy, and it still brings the same energy as "Rain and Blood." And even though it's slower, it doesn't mean that it's less energetic. It's just different.
Yeah, it's different is the only way you can put it.
It's an unreal follow-up. I mean, just because there's nothing else to compare it to, I think it's the only acceptable follow-up to "Rain and Blood."
Agreed. Yeah, you can't make a "Rain and Blood" part 2. It just wouldn't work at all.
Can't.
No, can't do it. All right, so I mean, yeah, my number 1's "Rain and Blood." So I guess that's it. Stay tuned for the main episode because we are getting into Slayer's album "Rain and Blood." Thank you all for listening, and you know all the shit we said at the beginning of the intro, so go do all that. And that's it. That's all. Greeking.